Today I'm going to recreate this classic hero unit style. In this hero section we've got our main title, which should be a heading 1, a paragraph style or a heading 3 or 4, leading into a standard signposting button, and additionally we've got the dividing line here. So we're going to build it structurally first, and then we're going to add a background image just to show how we can quickly recreate this effect, which works with a wide variety of website styles. A couple of caveats. One is we need to make sure that we have a good high resolution image for the background so it doesn't look pixelated. Additionally, we need to make sure that this image has a bit of negative space here, so a blurred out section or a section that doesn't have as much detail so we don't lose the text. And of course, we've got to think about the contrast of that photo as well. Is it going to be a dark background, therefore we can have light text overlaying it, or flipping it vice versa? So that's enough of an introduction. I think we're going to jump across now to the Hosting a Website Builder. That previous example is from our SquareForge, which is our Squarespace boilerplate template builder. And I'm slowly going about rebuilding that tool in the Hosting a Website Builder here as well. So to kick things off, I'm going to click on Add Section. I could choose a hero style or a standard text style, and I think that's what we're going to do here. We'll take this instead of having to start from scratch, and then we're just going to extend the height of it a little bit. We can move our sections around because this has got 3 of our 5 components, if we're going to include the background photo, already in place. So this will work as a structural layout. I'm going to align that text to the left, and the same with this one as well. So we go to the text alignment option, bring that across. I can leave a little bit more padding on the right of the text block, especially that one, if I want to, just in case that text, that heading when we put real content in, overflows. Or alternatively, if I want to keep a compact format, what will happen is the text will wrap as shown here. So once we've got those in place, we can now move our signpost button, and we're looking at some nice clean white space and even spacing between each of the elements. Before we put our background photo in, I've got one more step, and that is just to move this section down, and now we can add our dividing line. So I'm going to go back to our original option, and we can see it comes across to about by here. So we're going to mimic that as well. One thing I haven't checked is what heading style it is. So that's a heading 1. It may be a bit too large for your taste, but then you can go in through the style settings and actually change our heading 1 to make them smaller as well. Okay, so we've got that in place. We just need to add one more element that wasn't already added, and that is to add a shape. And we're going to change that shape to a line. Unfortunately, or so far anyway, that's as narrow a line as I can make. So if we're looking for a hairline between each of them, we can add a bit of custom code to reduce it, and I'm almost certainly going to be creating a tutorial showing how you can use custom code in the Hosting a Website Builder to reduce things like line heights for those line styles. Our classic hero structure is now in place, and we can go to Edit section, and now we can change our background image. Bear in mind we might need to change the color of the text and the shape and the button to match once we put a photo in place. And I'm just going to go for one I've previously uploaded. Actually, I won't, because that was coming across from Canva on a previous tutorial, which actually this section is part of the photo. So we're going to go instead to free images and go to Unsplash and then put sky. So I'm looking for a nice backdrop that's got a bit of consistency on the left-hand side here. And ideally, I'm looking at landscape photos because it'll just render better. You won't have the pixelation that you will find when you add a portrait image and try and make it landscape. That would have been exactly what I want if it was in landscape format. So I'm going to go for this one instead and click Add to Page. And we can see that the black text works over top of that background. If we jump back in and edit the section, we can increase the overlay opacity, making it a little bit darker, and then if we wanted to, we could then change our text colors throughout. And finally, the button. We could leave it as it is, it still works. Or we can go into styles, change the fill color, and swap it around with the text color. So there we have it, a classic hero unit that will not fail you. We can also add new elements on top of it, turn it into a hero grid, or, for example, put a contact form if that's what you're collecting. Although a hero is mostly used at the top of our website, below the masthead, this section here, what we find is with a lot of newer websites, we will use a secondary hero further down the page, just to give impact to something that's not absolute top priority when we first go to the website, but it could be something that we want to jump out. Other things with hero units is we're looking at capturing the imagination within 3 seconds. It's your billboard for your website. So if I jump to mobile view now, we can see this section is largely in place, but there's a little bit of tweaking and reordering to get it to look as good as it can. First of all, I want to bring all of these elements down to the bottom. We can see the bounding box around this line is way deeper than it needs to be, and it'll just get in the way of everything else. So I'm just going to make that more compact and then move our button. I'll get the spacing between the elements in place first. And that's looking pretty good there. And then I'll select all of those elements and bring them all down together. What I can also do is look potentially to reduce the width of these bounding boxes, meaning I can bring these over a little bit to give a bit more white space to the left and to the bottom of that content. And I can even just adjust it to make sure it's consistent left and below. Bit of fine tuning. We've got a really nice adaptable hero unit now that jumps between desktop and mobile view, and it will also respond to our screen size as well. So if your tablet size, it should work nicely for there. From this point, you can customize it. Bear in mind that you can click on these 3 dots and copy this section from one page in Hostinger and then bring it into another page. I've spoken to professional designers, and some will turn their nose up to using tools like Hostinger Website Builder. And although it may not have the full array of features of more established platforms, it does the essentials, the really important stuff, really well. It's so good and quick to start building websites. I love it, and that's why I'm going to be giving you loads more tutorials in the future. If you're intrigued by the Hostinger Website Builder and you want a discount, there's some information in below where you can get 10% off your purchase. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.